Just groove. A little more.
Hello! Paper Cut here, back with the replay review. I haven't done one of these in a while. We have Bill Ratio here, who I've been waiting to do one for him for a while, but he kept winning. He kept winning games. So he finally lost one, reached out to me. So we're going to look at this game where he's the Mongols on Prairie. As always, we're going to see what his strengths and weaknesses are, what are some big things he'd be working on as games forward. Our goal is to pull out things that we can use, not just like in this specific interaction, but in games going forward. If you're interested in your own replay review, please reach out to me on Discord, which will be in the description, or if you want full paid coaching, that's also there as well. So let's get started. So we got the placement's fine. Tree line, yeah, that works. So something that I would suggest, just a small thing, I would do this only for Prairie. Since Prairie has so many sheep, and since you are an aggressive civ who wants to keep your opponent in their base, and like trap there, or not in their base, but force their opponent to leave their base, especially on Prairie, which is so wide open, it's so hard to wall, which should be really effective for your civ as the Mongols, that you should actually go 2 scouts. And your goal should be your first scout, your Khan, kind of does a half circle to grab all the sheep here and get them back to your villagers. Actually, no, let's flip that. Your Khan should go straight towards the enemy side and just try to like vacuum all of the sheep on their side. Basically do like a straight line towards their base and then curve up around the bottom. Your second scout pops out and basically takes one of these corners here, this one or this one, and gathers sheep, brings them back to your base. And those 2 scouts will allow you, if you can get more sheep than your opponent, that reduces the amount of time your opponent can wait in their base and forces them out onto the outer resources, which you can then massacre them with Keshiks, or use towers and things like that. So I would do 2 scouts on this one, mostly just on Prairie. So it looks like you're not doing a tower rush style. I remember from your message you're going to do trade, which is really good. Trade is especially good against boom civs like Abbasid or China, because it takes them a minute to get set up and to get going, which gives you time to get your trade set up. So how you mix your aggression with getting your trade going is going to be really key in the matchup here. Pretty normal setup here. One thing you can notice is you reached gold a little bit earlier than your food. I would have put 10 on food and then started going wood, which might have made your age up sync a little bit better. So one thing we're doing now is that you're gathering all the rest of the sheep here. Once you get these, you really need to get to your opponent's base and scout around your opponent's base. And as the Mongols, your key thing you're thinking is, where can I put a tower? Because you might not tower rush now, but if you put aggression, towering their wood or towering one of their future berries or future deer packs is really, really powerful. So you need to go over here, you need to be scout around the base and think, where are their next food sources? Can I put a tower there? And be like rotating through those food sources to catch them at a weak point. It's gonna be kind of hard to poke early on, but as the Mongols, you should have a lot of opportunities. Look at all the sheep here, you're good to go. And see, this is the point where we really need you down, as well as it's really helpful for you to get to see the opponent's base before they age up, because knowing which wing the Abbasids go is really, really important. So what I mean by this is if they're going the military wing, which is the bottom left corner, if you're looking at their landmark, the bottom left corner one, it's tanner than the rest of the building. They go military wing, they get out military units. You have to get out units ASAP to counter them, because they're probably going to try to come and harass you, or at least get on your trade. But if they don't do that, then you know you're free to be really aggressive. So you send your silver tree over. One suggestion you could do, and here's your options here. If you really want to get your trade pumping quickly, set up your silver tree next to your Uvu and double produce a few traders. And once they get sent out, then move your Uvu, and that gives you a nice bump of the trade early. Another option is to immediately make a second market and roll that market over here as well, so that you're producing from a market and from your silver tree, which would allow you to get that trade, because you need to get, the faster you get the trade, the better. Like, you really need to get this trade up quickly to benefit, because you're getting gold and food from it. Another option is you leave your silver tree here, you set up a market down here, so your silver tree can produce your traders cheaper, and double produce them, while your market's down here for them to go to. But that takes a lot more micro. So if you're more about just the simplicity of it, I get it. But that's some options for you. So you do the classic Keshik archery range aggression here. The key here is that you really only need to build the aggression necessary to keep your opponent in their base. Now, if you want to go hard aggression and feudal, that's fine. But your goal is to kind of delay him to the point your trade is so great, then you can then either overwhelm them either in castle or in feudal or in castle. You definitely don't want to go imp against Addison. So let's see how you pressure here. This is going to be important. So you're on the wood line, push him off that, you get a villager here, that's great. And here's the first thing you can think of. One, a tower here would be really, really good. It gets the stone, which they don't even have enough stone for a second TC yet. So you've actually delayed their second TC. They're playing really slow. You see the barracks here, so getting archers is going to be important. But this is basically 4 little tree lines here for them. If you put a tower here, basically cuts them off immediately. It also gives you a jumping off point, because pushing a tower will be hard, especially if you're making units. But also, you don't know what they have over here, so that's why scouting is really important. You need to know every resource around their base, so you can take advantage of them. Because right now, at this point, you should be rotating. You need to be rotating. Like, sitting here and waiting is a bad move. You need to be putting pressure on him. The more pressure you put on him, the more mistakes he's going to make. So you should be running your Keshiks down, checking, are they anyone here, keep rotating around. If they have spears, that's fine, just outrun them. The spears cannot catch you, so just keep moving. If a spear pokes at your Keshik, come over here and attack the mining camp. But your goal should be, you need to pick villagers. Pick villagers right now. While this is happening, you should never not be producing traders. Like, it is okay to actually slow your military production if it means you're continuously making traders. Let's say you're in macro. So your question is, can I be producing traders continuously and some units? Traders require gold and wood. Right now, you actually have way too many on food. So my guess is you're actually going to start with too much food soon. Now, if your goal is to get to castle quickly, that's fine. But if your goal is to get a lot of traders, then you need to have more on wood and more on gold, because so you can continually make more and more traders, as well as getting another market, as I said earlier. Okay, so I mean, this is fine. Like, the resources, I don't think is worth. Think about this: you're actually letting him get resources for free right now, and is the resources you're letting him get for free worth that 25 gold, 25 food? I don't think it is. But what you did get confirmation on is that all he has right now is spears. So right now you should be putting all your resources and getting as many archers as possible. Look already on my prediction, you have way too much food. You don't have enough gold to produce Keshiks and traders. Not only that, your goal right now should be, you need to get this map's so wide open, right? You know at some point your opponent's going to try to raid your trade line. You have a couple options. One, you have a group of like 3 or 4 Keshiks that are constantly patrolling back here. The other option is, and what the better option in my opinion, is you need to get towers up. Towers allow your traders to hide in them, and also give your traders a boost. You need to be heavy on wood and gold so that you can start continuously building towers past your trade line, which will really help your trade. And will protect the traders when he eventually raids. Because right now, at some point, he's going to find it and he's going to want to raid. At this point, he can't stop you, right? Like, you actually have enough archers, and you're going to continuously make archers, but he's in a really bad spot. So you need to be going around here and continuously raiding him. Every villager you kill is huge. You got a scout, which is really big. Look at this. Like, look. He has 8 spearmen. You have 7 archers and 7 Keshiks. You could fight him directly right now and win this fight. Also, look at this. He's over here on this woodline, these berries. Take away these resources. Like, one thing at this level I often see is that you lose aggression. You're scared. You're always afraid your opponent has more than they have. Well, you've been scouting. He's not holding units back. This is all he has. So you could have right now run. Yes, we're taking TC fire, but you could have run in and pushed off his villagers, then gone and pushed off these villagers, got some villager kills, and used your archers to focus fire his spears while he's chasing you. It might have meant you would have missed maybe, like, you have enough villagers queued. You might have missed some micro back here, but this is your chance. Like, this is your what we'd call a timing push. You are at a really strong point, and your opponent has not geared up yet because they haven't made the villagers to gear up yet. Instead, you wait here, and this is your opponent needed this. Your opponent needed you to take your foot off the gas. At this point, you should have double your traders. So you should have 8, maybe even 10 traders. But you notice how your resources aren't setting you up for that. You have too much food. You need more wood. You have your eco upgrades. Get your eco upgrades. Double broad axe, wheelbarrow are huge, especially on this map where we have to run so much. Wheelbarrow, double broad axe are huge, huge, huge. And you need way more traders. And see, this waiting is killer. This waiting is killer. You're letting him get more villagers, which is what he needs to catch up economically. You're letting him build a military. There's another thing. Right now, he's building up a military without any issue. He's just added in horsemen. Look at all this production he's put down. Like, he's going to start to overtake you in units because you're not keeping him off resources. And you're going to make it harder and harder to fight him. But look at the spearmen he has. Like, all you need is a bunch of archers. You can even go spearman yourself. So you get the castle. You go Kurultai. And here's the thought process. Like, what's the unit that will actually be best here? You're going to see that he has horsemen and spearmen. If you drop 2 or 3 barracks and just start mass-producing men-at-arms with the Kurultai, you walk over him. You walk over him. Keshiks are hurt by his spears. Your archers are hurt by his horsemen, so he can actually still kind of fight you in feudal. But also, you're letting him get the castle himself. Like, you're letting him just get the resources to get the castle himself. Then he starts raiding, and this is what I mean. You didn't set yourself up for success. Earlier, you had the advantage. You could have kept him in his base, but since you sat back here, he felt comfortable to set a raiding group up to attack your trade. You had nothing here. You had no towers, and you had no units. I want to emphasize, you had a great opening. Your opening was very clean. You had a lot of units. You had presence, but then you took your foot off the gas, and now he's back on you. He's raiding your trade. He's pushing you back, and now you're on the back foot, and he's decimating your eco right now. When this happens, you need to double click on your traders and either move them away, like hide them, or garrison them immediately, because that hurts. You then go for a ram push, which I'm honestly confused about why, because you need to get your Kurultai up here. Like, your Kurultai needs to be up here already, and honestly, you're not ready for a ram push. You need to secure your trade, and you need to keep raiding. Like, take small groups of Keshiks and keep him back, because right now, he's hit this point where his eco is popping now. But I also want you to show you something. Look how tenuous his eco is. Once he loses these berries, he has to go out to these berries. Look how open this is. He has to go out to this deer that's massively open. This deer, these deer. He's going to run out of food very soon, and he has to do a farm transition. And he can't protect this farm transition because he can't build enough walls. He doesn't have the wood. So keeping the aggression on this map is massive because you make it impossible for him to get any resources. Like, literally impossible. Like, right now he's trying to get a castle, which he shouldn't be able to do. But you've let him mass up this to the point that it's now hard for you to fight him. You have 40, he has 42. All you really need, though, is a lot of archers, and you cleanse this. You get, like, 10 men-at-arms to tank, and then your archers just slaughter him. That's a reaction, right? You need to react to what your opponent's doing. What's your opponent doing? Your opponent is doing mass spears. You got archers. You're in castle. Use those men-at-arms. Also, you need to start using the resources you're getting. Sell some... It's okay to sell resources to balance things out again, but now that your trade's been decimated, you lost your advantage. And now you're finally building outposts, which is now too late. You have to swing your catches back in, and then he walks up on you with a huge force. That's castle, and it's over. And I bet it felt very sudden. You're like, how did this happen? Well, it happened because you let him do that. You had a very winnable game in feudal, and it spiraled. Okay, and that's that. So let's talk. What's the big things to learn from that game? One, you need to use your civ's advantages. Tower rushing and trade are both really important. You want to do the trade opening, great. But you need to match the aggressiveness with the booming. You went very aggressive and lacked boom, so you didn't produce as many traders as you should. But also, you didn't keep up the aggressiveness. You let your opponent catch back up. So what you need to do is make sure that you are staying aggressive to protect your boom. That strategy is super powerful for the Mongols. You need to protect your eco lead by staying aggressive so your opponent stays in their base, and by building towers along the trade line to protect your traders. Second, respond to what your opponent is doing and respond to the map. Prey, for example, the food sources are really far away. Your opponent is building spearmen. Just keep rotating, keep them off resources, build enough spearmen, build enough archers to kill a spearman, and you win. Because you will get so many resources from trade. And lastly, third, macro to your goals. If your goal is to build up your trade boom, then you need to make sure you're getting the resources to do that. You need another market. You need wood and gold. Lots of wood and gold. You need to then, once your trade is up and running, then you can just sell resources from your trade to get anything that you need. So yeah, use your civ's advantages, maintain your aggression and your advantage, and macro to your goals. Okay, hope that was helpful. Yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. And good luck on your future games.